doing UCLA, Oregon, Texas,
All the
Okie
ranked
State.
games. All the ranked games.
I,
Boom. We are live. Is my screen blinking on your end?
no, we're good.
Okay. I don't
Yeah,
understand why my camera does that. But we are live with the
nickel technology. That's why.
IBN College Football Podcast. I am your host, Actively Lazy. With me is Patrick L.
Oh,
The L is uppercase.
oh my God! I just, you know what? You snuck that in there real quick.
Yeah, you're a bum.
You snuck that in there real
You're a
quick. Can't
bum. You can't
stand
win
you.
in football or football. Like
Hey,
you
no,
just
no, no, no. You saw us. We got that W yesterday. Ronaldo. That's a different story. But the
yeah, I was
the
gonna say
actual team, the
y'all need
team
to.
won. He might be on the unemployment line, needing a, well, I wouldn't say needing a PPP loan, but something.
No, he don't need no money. Do they do hard knocks for English Premier League? Because I feel like Manchester United should be on it.
They were talking about like the one of those Amazon produced All or Nothing ones that Tottenham had,
Mm-hmm.
but I
Yeah.
don't know if that's going to happen now because
Yeah.
the new manager is not keen on that.
Y'all are bums. All right. We cannot talk about week 8 without talking about what occurred in week 7. What does Bama losing do to the playoff scene? I think that's everybody's question. We've
I mean,
got
it makes it a lot more interesting.
this is our
Dur, dur,
top four,
dur.
right? Yeah, this is our top four right now by the AP rankings. Number 1, Georgia. Number 2, Ohio State. Number 3, Tennessee. Number 4, Michigan. Once again, if you are Clemson and Bama, you're in a good spot. Like you just because Bama, I think, dropped to 6. Clemson's number 5. Georgia's got to play Tennessee. Ohio State's got to play Michigan. So if you're number 5 and you win out, you're gonna get in. Like I
Or
mean,
even
that's
if you're,
obvious.
or even if you're TCU in this spot, because what are they,
Eh,
seventh or eighth?
TCU's eighth, but I think they would need a little bit of help. Um, I mean, because the committee is not going to be too far off from this top four right here. They might like you might not see Tennessee or Michigan at 3 or 4, but they would definitely be number 5
Yeah.
for the committee, which still puts Georgia or Bama probably around like 6. Um, and Bama's got a key game coming up. It just honestly, they need Ole Miss to win to tomorrow, or sorry, to win on Saturday because that'll help. Because Ole Miss is a top 10 team, and they still got Bama left on their schedule. Uh, Georgia's got Tennessee, and then you would assume that if Bama wins out, the
Georgia still has to play Tennessee and Kentucky, I think.
yeah, well, Tennessee has to play Kentucky too and Georgia. So
Ooh.
yeah, but they get Kentucky. Matter of fact, they get Tennessee Martin this week, Kentucky next week, and then they go to Georgia. So it might be a tricky spot, but I mean, you're at home, and you get Kentucky. I think it's good that they took Tennessee Martin out to the Bama game just in the event that they would win. They don't have to
Yeah.
like try too hard. It's kind of a chill
Also,
game.
also, they got the goalpost back just in time.
Oh, they get
They
did
just
they
put them
actually
back
fish
up
the goalpost
today.
up?
Yes, they
That's
got them
funny.
today.
That's funny.
they that's how the definition of y'all just don't know how to act around here.
Yeah, it's funny. Is that I was talking to somebody at work about this. They've got the hydraulic powered goalposts now. I think they all like go down and come up with like hydraulics. And
Oh,
for some reason Tennessee had the old school ones that you could tear down.
because
but
they said we're not
you know,
getting the new ones until we win, until we
but you
beat
know
Bama.
what? I Everybody knows I like Alabama. Obviously, I like Coach Saban. I like consistency, um, and I think that this was great for college football.
Yeah,
I think anytime we can have these teams kind of break through the mold is good. Tennessee has been on the scene recruit wise for a couple years. Heupel wasn't like hugely praised as a good hire, but when he got his chance, he made the most of it. The program's going in the right direction, and it's good for the SEC. It's good for college football. I mean, it's
and
always good. It's always good when we have some shakeups up top, and I think like this is a good spot.
And
for the
this
top
reignites
seed.
an actual legitimate, like hotly contested rivalry. Like people like, if you're like what 25 and under, you don't realize how big Alabama Tennessee used to be back in the day. Like this used to be one of them.
They're trying to get rid of you
Oh god, I'm always
in
trying to
real
get
time.
fired.
In real time. But
Do I coach
yeah,
Auburn? Because I'm getting fired on the job. I'm
I
getting
know
fired
that's
mid
messed
game.
up. That's messed up.
Y'all treat
But
me like Brian Harson over here.
let's get to this week's game. And what we're gonna do is we're further into the season. We're just gonna talk about the top 25 games. And then I kind of thought about doing some gambling centric things. But for this week, I'll just leave it out. But obviously, Maction's coming. If anybody's been in our group for the last 4 years, you know what Maction means for the group. We all get hype about it, and I will try to be on up to date as much as I can be with that. And there is a good Maction game this week. Toledo's playing Buffalo. That should be interesting. So if you
Ooh.
have a chance to catch that, I would definitely catch it. But rounding off our top 25, we got the game of the afternoon. Sorry, the game of the afternoon, not the game of the day. Number 14, Syracuse at number 5, Clemson. Clemson is laying 13.5. The over/under is 50. You know, Syracuse is giving Clemson some fits when they were at Syracuse. I'm not putting a lot of stock into this. I mean, it's cool that Syracuse is undefeated. I love Dino Babers. Everybody knows I love Dino. There's actually probably like 4 or 5 of us that were pro Dino for the longest time, and it's good to see him kind of turn the corner once again. Because at one point last year and the year before, it was looking like he wasn't
That
going to
seat
make it.
was a little warm. That
Yeah,
seat was really warm.
yeah. So um, yes, there's a lot of folks not sold on Clemson. I agree. However,
Clemson
Clemson
at home has looked really good.
Clemson has been surging in the second half of games, man. Like you want to write them off in the beginning. They do start slow to me sometimes. Offensively, defensively, they can be had. I'm just not sure Syracuse is the right offense to do it. They haven't played. They're not a very explosive offense. Put it that way. They do got some playmakers though.
And they're very erratic themselves.
Yeah.
See, Syracuse, they're one of those teams you don't know what to expect out of because what have we seen with the Purdue game to start off where they kind of lucked out of a few of these. They're undefeated. They're undefeated, but it's by literally the hair on their chin.
Oh my gosh, thank you. But like you're in the sports group. This is a sports podcast. I don't know what else. I don't
Is
know
it
what
that?
else. I
Is
don't
it
know
the
what
same
else to
person that
say.
complains about getting tagged?
I don't know. It's always somebody. But
Right.
yeah, black coaches do matter, Keem. I agree, and I love Dino. I would love nothing more than Dino to beat Dabo, but I just don't. I don't see it happening, man. And there's a lot of people who want the upset. If you want to lay the 14 or you want to take the 14, you can. I'm gonna stay out of it. I'm gonna stay out of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I do
Take
have
Clemson.
Clemson winning. I do have Clemson winning. But there used to be a time. It used to be a time where Clemsoning was a thing, and we would have like a lot of laughs about it. I'm looking at this running thread. Like, I'm glad that we got people. I'm glad that we got people participating, even though they're arguing about the everyone tag. Ben's calling us cowards. You're right, Ben. You're right. I'm not. I'm not about that. That
I'm not brave enough,
14
Ben, to
point
take a.
14 point upset at Clemson. I'm just not about it. But moving on to the next game, a game that's not on a lot of people's radar, but I think should be interesting. Number 21, Cincinnati is visiting SMU. SMU's plus 3.5. Over unders at 58.5. I've been saying all season that I think Cincinnati's vulnerable. I do like Mordecai. We had a little argument about him earlier this week. SMU has been pretty feisty at home. I think they could catch Cincinnati in this spot. Not if I had to put it between a scale of 1 to 10 on the upset alert, I would put this at like at least a 6.5, maybe 7.
Okay, you're more optimistic about SMU than I am. I still think Cincinnati has enough like it'll be close early on, but Cincinnati's going to pull away. And I don't think SMU covers on it at all.
Yeah, and
Like,
that would be my concern is them finishing the game, how they finish games. And Mordecai doesn't suck. But I don't think Cincinnati is as good as people think. And we're not gonna get into the chili on spaghetti, which
oh
ironically that
God.
you would say that. My boss is from Ohio and she was talking to me about that, and I was like, I have a friend who hates that.
Oh God.
But
Chili on spaghetti?
let me put SMU as a borderline upset alert here. Wouldn't be shocked if they won outright, but also wouldn't be shocked if they tricked it up in the end because that's just how it happens with them sometimes. Next game. This is an interesting game. And I say it's interesting because we had a gentleman in the group this week. I don't know if you guys picked up on it because we didn't tag everyone. Oh my God. Anyway, we had a guy who could not understand why a team could be ranked higher, a one-loss team could be ranked higher than an undefeated team. Like he thought it was ridiculous, and somebody pointed out, well, ranked teams go to unranked games, like unranked teams' homes, and they're underdogs. This is case in point. LSU is not ranked. LSU lost to Florida State, and number 7 Ole Miss is coming to LSU, and LSU is favored by 2.5. So, what do you take from that? It's just how it is, and we won't get into a rant on strength of schedule and why that's important and how that measures in certain instances. But I think this gentleman was referring to Syracuse, which God bless you, man. If true,
Why
I
is
love
Syracuse not
I
in the
love being
playoffs yet?
I know, yeah, but yeah, that just ain't gonna work, man. That just ain't gonna work. Um,
This one's an interesting one because LSU their offense is suspect. Like I still don't know what to make of it. Even though they beat Florida last week, I saw it with my own eyes. That offense just isn't that good. Florida's defense was just that bad. Like they won't stop in at a stoplight. They won't stop in at the stop sign. They won't stop in at an intersection. They won't stop in at the yield to get on the highway. They won't stop it. Nothing. Um, yeah, I just don't think LSU's offense is that good, nor is their defense really.
Brian Kelly doesn't win big games.
He he doesn't.
Yeah,
Like that team's just mid. It's like they've won games they shouldn't have won. They've won about 3 of them this year. Mississippi State. Honestly, they shouldn't have beaten Auburn.
yeah.
If Florida could play any sense of defense, they should have beat them. Like I don't. LSU's won too many games they have no business.
I mean, from a gambling standpoint, this is definitely a trap. But you know what? I hate Brian Kelly. So,
The Lane Train, baby.
yeah, Lane Train, baby. I rock with Lane.
Boop boop.
I always rock with Lane, but bro, it is a big game if the number 17 is coming in and you're favored against the number 17. If freaking LSU wins, is going to be an issue. So I'm going with Lane though. I'm going with Lane in the dog spot. Give it to me.
Yep.
All right, next we've got a game that I know Ben's going to have a lot to say about, and I couldn't wait. Upset alert: Oklahoma State is hosting number 20 Texas. Oklahoma State is number 11. The spread's 6.5. Over on the 60.5. Mullet versus mullet.
Wait, racist mullet versus regular mullet.
Oh yeah. Let's see.
Hold on, Ben. This is for you. I'm gonna take the horns with this one. Quinn Ewers healthy?
Healthy is a define healthy.
He playing.
Yeah, he's playing.
Yeah, they win.
Oh, Sanders is hurt. You know what? If Sanders wasn't hurt, I still would probably support Quinn Ewers. I just don't like Texas as a favorite on the road by more than one score. Like it's almost a touchdown. I y'all be looking funny in the light, man, especially in your conference.
I will say I do think Texas with Quinn Ewers back, they can finagle their way possibly to Big 12 championship. Will they win it? Well, I don't know about that, but and I don't like Spencer Sanders. And you know you don't either. The man's a walking turnover machine
He
in the big
is.
games too. You
I've never
you
liked.
know when the big games he gets lemon booty and he gets turnover prone.
You are 1-5 under Sark on the road, but we are winning. So what you're saying is you're 1-5 against the spread, but you're winning games. I mean, I would assume, like even off the top of my head, I would definitely think that that's accurate. I think that might have been Jeff too. Gundy's son is gonna play.
Oof.
Oh
Uh-oh.
man, but you know what? I will say is Oklahoma State's defense is pretty solid. But if there was an offense that could give them problems, it would probably be Quinn and Worthy and Bijan. Like that's a three-headed monster that
Yeah.
I think is pretty tough. It does suck that they don't have man, look, I'm trying to be nice because I'm a Texas hater, people. God, fine. Texas is gonna win. Jesus. You know what? I hate this group though. When we only had two people on here, I was able to get away with that stuff. Now everybody's like, they suck. Yes, they do suck. Texas is gonna win. Damn it. Watch Ben's mouth just hit the floor like, what? He just said Texas is gonna win. Texas, man. But not, yeah, it's really too much.
I'm just telling you. Do you know how easy we got off when Bama actually beat Texas?
Yeah, on to my actual upset alert. To hell with y'all. I don't care what y'all say about Oregon. I'm taking UCLA.
Yeah, DTR baby.
I'm taking UCLA.
DTR.
DTR is the best playmaker in that conference, damn it. And if there's anything Chip wants to do, is probably stick it to Oregon, even though
And
it's
you
kind of
know
his
what
fault.
Bo Nix is always good for?
Oh
Throwing
God,
3 picks in a big game.
Nix is terrible, man. You know, well, speaking of a bad passing defense, the Oregon Ducks pass defense is pretty damn bad.
Yeah.
Um,
Ask Georgia. They threw the same 3 plays. They actually didn't even have good deep routes. They were just throwing dump offs and smoking them dudes.
yeah, and
Dump off.
the Bruins are a team trending up. I don't think a bye week is gonna cool them off. It's probably gonna help. Both teams actually coming off a bye, which should
Keep them
help.
healthy.
Yeah, which
Get some of them
should
better
help.
players back.
But I'm excited for this game. Like the Pac-12 has put out some pretty good games this year, man. Despite what we all expected, they've been entertaining. USC and Utah was entertaining. Washington versus
UCLA.
UCLA was entertaining. I think this will be an entertaining game. So I'm excited
And UCLA wins this, they kind of answer one more question if they're a legitimate playoff contender and can win the conference.
I mean, but honestly, I will say in college football, we all know that if you have a dynamic playmaker at quarterback, you can go pretty far.
Yeah,
And they do have that. That I mean, DTR is pretty sweet.
And this is a very senior or upperclassman heavy team. So if there was going to be a year where UCLA does it, it is this one.
Yep. Let's see. My Pirate. This is a bad spot for him.
Oh
Number
no.
24 Mississippi State and number 6 Alabama. Bama's favored by Bama's favored by 21. The over unders at 61. Man,
Bama gonna give it to him. Bama's gonna be pissed.
I say this about a lot of teams, and I'm always quick to be like, we give certain people too much credit when their team isn't as good or the program isn't as good. Bama's got some weaknesses. I will say that they got some weaknesses, and one of them is uncharacteristically they are not disciplined. Yeah, they're not disciplined. But I just don't think Mississippi State can exploit that to an outright win. Maybe a backdoor cover, but even then, considering that they got to look good and they just lost to Tennessee, I don't even know if a backdoor cover is going to work.
No, this one's a game Bama kind of has to make a big statement on as well. Yeah. Because also they got to get some confidence back because all right, they're going to the SEC title, but you don't want to look weak having to play either Tennessee or Georgia.
Yeah,
So
Bama's secondary has been really disappointing, man. They don't have an identity. They're not coverage corners. They're not aggressive corners. They're just I don't understand what they're doing sometimes. They haven't looked good. They haven't looked good dating back to last year, honestly. So
defensively, they all around they haven't
and,
been that good.
and I never thought I'd say this, but Will Anderson kind of soft,
Yeah.
which is unfortunate. He's not of the same pedigree as some of them other guys.
Can I tell you something? Will
Yeah,
Anderson
I
is
mean,
Brenton.
I get that they're young, but here's my thing: you're at Alabama, bro.
I
That
mean,
you
yeah, it
don't
don't
want to get
matter.
that excuse.
No,
Like for like this far into the season, like they've been bad since week one, pretty much. Like this far into the season, I gotta see a little bit more, man. Like I mean, you're more than likely if you're starting at Bama, you were a 5-star recruit anyway. So I mean, come on. I don't think they have the luxury of getting that excuse in that program and in that particular structure to be like, oh, they're young. Nah. Week 8, man.
also Will Anderson is
I,
Brenton
I'm
Cox
sorry.
with
I'm sorry. That's
in a
just the
crimson
nature of the
jersey.
beast. You are in Alabama. It's the same for every other top program. The Ohio States, the Clemsons, the Georgias. Like these guys come onto the field. You get a maybe 3-4 game window by midway through the season. People expect to see results, man. People
But you
expect
better
to see
pick it up.
results. 4 to 5 stars is probably all that Alabama's got on their field and on the bench. I mean,
They have probably 2, 3 stars who are on the practice team.
Ohio State's defense has looked better uh, than Bama's from a technical standpoint. I'm not talking about results. I'm talking like what I see from their linebackers, their front, their secondary, their defensive structure looks better.
I
Yes,
mean results too. So
I mean it's true. I'm
they
sorry.
haven't. Ohio State hasn't given up 52 points this year.
Yeah, I'm just again. It does take some time, but I'm just Georgia lost a lot. Georgia lost like fucking excuse my French, like 9 like starters on their defense. They put out like 3 first rounders off break in their defensive end, big man up front, and their linebacker. Yeah, so
Yeah,
they
Dean
yeah,
Davis.
Dean Davis and I forgot the other dude, but
Yeah, me
like
too.
so again, nobody gave Georgia a pass. I'll say that in the group, nationally, everywhere else. Ain't nobody ever said, "Well, Georgia's got a young team." The
Mm-mm.
expectation was that they were gonna what do they call it?
Reload.
Reload. Yeah, that was the
If you were
expectation, and they kind of did. So that's the expectation for Bama. You are a top program. You are a
if you
top
are a top
program.
10 recruiter, we do not expect rebuilds. We expect reloads.
Yeah. And Notre Dame lost this past weekend, and nobody even cared. That's how
Wait,
bad
they did?
Yeah, I think they lost.
Who'd they
Matter of
lose
fact,
to?
I think they put them on Peacock. Let me see. Like
What? They got
for
relegated.
real.
They got relegated to like the
they got
third.
they got some issues. Yeah, Stanford beat them. Stanford beat them
Oh,
16-14. That's what I was like. I'm pretty sure they lost. Yeah.
so
To
they got
freaking
relegated
Stanford.
to Peacock.
They lost. They lost to Stanford at home.
They got dropped for the network behind
Yeah.
Aston Villa versus like freaking Fulham. They got
I,
dropped for the Premier League games.
hey, look, Akeem. I know you be watching. That one black coach don't matter. We not claiming Freeman. He not. He not with us. He not with us. I'm pretty disappointed in him. This is an interesting game to me. Minnesota at number 16, Penn State. The spread's 4.5, over under 44.5. You know why I say this is interesting? Because this
both got whooped last week.
yeah, that and this is the time. This is the time where we see Franklin check out. Didn't win the big game. He be checking out, man. They be checking out.
Here's what happens with Penn State, though. They'll either have a season where they'll lose a game where it's like, ooh, it should have been closer, and then they'll win a game they have no business winning. But this one, I just don't see Minnesota coming on the road on a whiteout to win this because Minnesota's looked disappointing just throughout the year. Nothing about them has looked like, ooh, we're contenders. We're
Yeah, at one time, I think they had a couple solid games like early in their schedule.
yeah, like what when the weather was still warm? No, no, they're not. I don't trust Minnesota. I don't trust Tanner Morgan. At least with Sean Clifford, he can get you to the he can get you over the edge on a game like this. But I don't trust Tanner Morgan. I trust him. Well, I should say this. I trust him way less than I would Sean Clifford.
I I don't understand. Like Tanner Morgan's got is this like his 6th year? I feel like he's been there
Yeah,
forever.
both them dudes been there since like
But I guess because of
2015.
COVID, they might have gave him an extra year or something like that.
Yeah, you got the freebie in 2020, but neither one of them was going to the
Never
draft. So
trusted Tanner. I'm taking
I mean,
Minnesota
that is
too, man. I'm gonna take Minnesota on a flyer that I just feel like Franklin and his teams check out when they don't win big games. They seem like, no offense to Penn State fans, but they just seem like a program that expects to be Ohio State and Michigan, and then when they trick up and lose a game, they don't want to do it anymore.
it's you know what's hilarious? It's funny because it's like they want to be up there, and it's like they recruit better than Michigan, but less than Ohio State. But it's like kind of gotta develop the talent on the offensive side of the ball a bit better, guys. The you have the pieces. Learn to use them, aka Drew Aller.
And so it is what
Learn
it
to
is.
use him.
God, man, y'all are funny. But yeah, I didn't. This is definitely something to touch on, and Akeem and Daniel are two Michigan fans I talk to on a regular basis. They know I'll be trolling and hating, but yeah, I didn't expect that either. I really thought it was going to be close. I thought it was going to be
Yeah.
a game. Um, and I had jokingly said it was a mirror match. Whoever had the ball last was going to lose because Franklin and Harbaugh can't manage the game properly. But they whipped Penn State, man, and it was
You
kind
know,
of upsetting how Penn State started the game. It was almost like they didn't even want to like try to compete. Like they just boxed themselves in. I get that Michigan is superior defensively than your offense, but at least try. At least try, man. Like that
yeah,
just that
they came,
bothered me.
they came out flat and shot themselves in the foot too.
Mhm.
Like they did way more damage to themselves than Michigan did because it's like Clifford's decision making that game was just eh.
Well, Clifford's decision making in general is just eh.
Yeah, that's that's
Um,
that's true. It was
my
it was
last
just a it was just
my
a
last
uh,
ranked game. Number 17, Kansas State at number 8, TCU. TCU's favored by 3.5. Over unders at
take the
54.
frogs,
Look,
the
every
frogs.
my gut says take the frogs, but the money in the sharps right now is saying take the points with Kansas State, which makes me wonder like are they expecting like some drop off or something? Like what's going on? This TCU team, shout out to Sonny Dykes, man. Like they doing a
Right?
lot better than I thought. I thought there would be
What
at least
what did we have them
a
in a preview? What 8-win team at most?
yeah, I thought it would be a little delay in their success, but not at all. Not at
Dyke
all.
said, "I got pieces. We gonna
Yeah,
roll, baby.
yeah.
Take them
So
frogs." Cause
I
I'll say
again, I
this.
it's a game that I'm gonna bet at the last minute, like I did Oklahoma State and TCU. I bet Oklahoma State to cover, but it was probably like 5 minutes before kickoff, and that's
I'll say this:
probably
with
how I'm gonna do
to
this
beat
too.
TCU, you have to move the ball very quickly,
You have
aka
to finish
pass.
drives. You have to finish
Yeah,
drives. That's one thing I've noticed.
Kansas Kansas State sometimes has the like they'll get one or two, but they'll have fall into a lull of just getting field goals. You can't get
Mhm.
field goals on TCU because
Yeah,
TCU will put 30 on you in a quarter and call it a night.
yeah,
That's the
and
only thing I don't think Kansas State can do is they're not as explosive in the passing game. Like Martinez has shown improvement with his passing, but I think he only has like 900 yards passing on the year through 6 games. That's not a huge indicator of heaving the ball downfield. You're gonna have
Yeah.
to air it out to beat TCU, especially in Fort Worth.
So I still say that you can play clock management style against like a TCU or something like that, but you just have to
But you have to get stops. Like
yeah, you have to get
you have to
stopped,
make sure they're not in the like. You just can't.
and you can't expect to like beat them like you said by kicking field goals. Like you need to get touchdowns. Kansas State, for what it's worth, has I think has the style to give TCU fits because they do have a clock controlling style of play, even when they make their big plays, and they primarily do it on the ground. And they've got a dual threat, I mean, dual, dual threat
When
quarterback.
we mean dual is
Yeah,
he's 2 feet.
yeah,
He
dual
has
threat
2 feet.
quarterback.
2 feet. That's the dual threat right there.
But hey, Martinez been showing up in big games, Joe. Sorry, Jay, I hate to say
I was
it, but
about to say Jay rolling around, like
yeah.
cursing Scott
So
Frost's name out here
and,
with
and
this.
if you're TCU again, if you're TCU, all you gotta do is look at that Oklahoma game, and that should be enough motivation for you to realize you got to come correct here. Um, Honorable mention games. I don't have it pulled up, but I did want to highlight my Navy shipmen hosting Houston. They're 3-point dogs. I don't think Houston's really good. And from what I've seen out of Navy's option offense, it seems like they got it going on. It's unfortunate that they did not win outright last week when I took them almost 4-1 on the upset, but they covered and they played hard. The defense was like meh, but Houston's offense has been absolutely terrible this year. I thought that was a game if you're a gambler to take a look at if you're looking for a slight dog play. Um,
Wait,
I was a little concerned with Marshall getting almost 13 against JMU. I get that JMU is good and they're not too far from us, but I think that's a lot. Like this Marshall team isn't like they're plotters, but they're pretty consistent program. I kind of wondered if that was too much. I would look into that as well. And then that
wait,
Toledo Buffalo game.
is it
Go
in
ahead.
JMU or is it in Marshall?
It's at JMU from what I saw.
Another
'Cause
game.
I had it up on my schedule, like something that I had circled. Also, Wyoming hosting the Utah State Aggies. Wyoming's pretty tough at home, kind of like that
And Utah
game.
State's been bad this year.
Yeah, and
They've been
they're only
booty
laying
cheeks.
they're only laying 4, which is wild. So
What?
yeah, Wyoming's only laying 4. So I was like, just off the structure of that line, I was like, maybe somebody's hurt. Again, a game I would look into. Let's see. Oh, Air Force hosting Boise State. Air Force is favored by 2.5. Love some Air Force when they're at home
And
in that conference. It's a tough place to play.
and let me tell y'all something quietly. This is the Mountain West Championship for Game 1.
Yeah.
Like y'all know they gonna rematch in November. This is Game 1.
And let's see. Last but not least, I'm just scrolling through. BYU and Liberty over 58 might be a good look. Check that out as well. Um, and then Marshall's coming to JMU as a 12.5 point dog. I just thought that was really weird.
That's a little high. I could
Also,
see I
I
could
mean,
see a 5 or a 7.
Marshall doesn't score much, so I get that. But either way, those were the games that I was
Don't
kind of
tell Notre
looking at.
Dame that.
I know. Those were the games that I was kind of looking at that were non-ranked. Thank you, everybody who participated, even in the side chat. And thank you guys for watching us. We will be back next week. Catch the NFL recap show in between Sunday's action 7:30 to 8:30 on Sundays. And then also, if you haven't checked out the NFL Gambling Podcast, make sure you do that as well. All right. This is Actively Lazy and Patrick L. We're out.